are you?
I am Steve.
Yeah, damn right you are.
Who are you people?
Huh. Jack Black's really energetic and exaggerated. Shame he wasn't like that in that Brutal Legend game. Oh yeah, Brutal Legend, I remember that. I need to review that one day. You know, the whole aesthetics of this game kind of remind me of like a higher resolution Brutal Legend. Oh yeah, I need to review that someday. Okay. All right then. Huh? Oh, fine. Okay, I'll do it then. I'll do it. Brutal Legend is a character action strategy game that was released in 2009 for the Xbox 360, PS3 and PC, which was the version that I played for this review. The game was created as a massive love letter to classic metal and rock music and features the aesthetics and iconography surrounding the genre and culture. It has a pretty cool star cast of actors and celebrities, including Jack Black, who voices the main character Eddie Riggs, as well as metal legends such as Rob Halford, the lead singer of Judas Priest, Lemmy Kilmister, the late lead singer of Motorhead, and Ozzy Osbourne, who... It was developed by Double Fine Productions, who also develops the Psychonauts games, and this game has a pretty dedicated cult following, and I still hear it being brought up in discussions this day. So overall, you think that this game would be pretty phenomenal and right up my alley, but sadly that's not the case. The game is a perfect example of fantastic concept, poor execution, and even though I had a pretty okay time with it overall, I feel like it could have been so much better. But I'll get into the many faults that this game has later down the line. But first, let's get into this game and examine its story and what it's about exactly. The game opens up with a live action video of Jack Black, before he became a massive meme machine, walking into a music store and selecting a record that says Brutal Legend.
You sure you're ready for this? Because what I hold in my hand is not just gonna blow your mind, it's gonna blow your soul.
He then opens it to reveal the title screen menu. It's actually a pretty good way to start the game, and I like to imagine that whilst you're playing, Jack is just standing there staring at the record whilst all the store staff are just looking at him concerned like, he's been there for like 5 hours, should we at least, tell him to get out or something? The main character, who totally isn't a Jack Black insert, is Eddie Riggs, and he is a roadie for a pretty crappy boy band. He's not having the happiest of times, and he yearns for the days of classic metal to return. An accident happens on stage while the crappy boy band are performing, and Eddie gets crushed and essentially gets isekai'd into this power metal dark fantasy world. I do like how the warning prompts for the swearing and gore pop up right before they're about to happen, like this.
I told you not to climb on that, you stupid mother! Fucking piece of shit!
Like, that's pretty funny, not gonna lie. And since I am a mature 24-year-old man, I will put blood and swearing on. When he awakens in this fantasy world, he finds his guitar, which turns into a literal axe and is able to fend off enemies and cast spells. He also runs into this girl called Ophelia.
Oh man, don't tell me I've been slaying hot girls this whole time.
And this might be a bit off topic, but she looks very similar to an old OC I used to have called Faith. Same hairstyle, clothes, colours, everything. It's kinda spooky, that. He meets up with Ophelia's crew and meets a man called Lars, who just dumps loads of lore about this world to Eddie. They plan to amass an army to take down General Lionwhite, the glam rock king, who can fly with his hair, which I admit is pretty dope. They get the help from the Killmaster, who totally isn't Lemmy Kilmister, as well as a whole bunch of others, and eventually defeat Lionwhite, but it turns out that he was just a puppet for the real villain, Emperor Diviculus, who just fucking impales Lars and kills him right there.
Well, in that case... It seems I had less to worry about than I thought.
Oh no! Anyway.
It also turns out that Ophelia is not what she seems, and is actually a villain working for Diviculus. We then get the most random time skip ever, kicking off the second part of the story where Ophelia becomes a villain, and then they go on a tour to stop her and Diviculus. The game then turns into Tim Burton's Wet Dream, as the game turns all gothic and gloomy, and Ophelia gets this new look because she threw herself in the sea of black tears, which I do admit she does look pretty sick like this. During this tour, Eddie discovers that his dad is actually a legendary warrior in this world and bangs the great demon witch Socoria, giving birth to Eddie. So that basically makes Eddie half demon, half human. Eddie, Dante would like a word with you. Oh, I remember that Diviculus guy. Yeah, well he just lore dumps all of this right before the final fight with him. Eddie basically defeats Diviculus and screams his fucking head off.
Decapitation!
And he then saves Ophelia, concluding his tour, and that's it. He stays in this world, he doesn't go back to the human world or anything. Like, I was thinking that this was all like a surreal fever dream he was having whilst playing it. Like, in the end he was gonna wake up or something like that. Like, it was all a dream whilst he was in a coma. Like, honestly, this game just feels like Jack Black's surreal self-insert fanfiction. Not saying that it's a bad thing. This game clearly isn't meant to be taken seriously, and the world building is actually pretty good. Now, as I've hinted at previously, the gameplay of Brutal Legend is nothing special. It's a character action game where you swing your axe to kill enemies at close range, and shot them with your guitar at long range. There are a couple of combos you can pull off, and one thing that surprised me is that Eddie actually can't jump. Yeah, that's right, and the A button is instead used to swing your axe. There are a bunch of different weapons and combos to purchase at these garages which can be raised around the hub world, where you can get the Lord of Metal, who totally isn't Ozzy Osbourne, to pimp you and your car, the deuce, out.
Well, it's about fucking time.
Although, if I'm being honest, I didn't see much of a difference that these weapons made during combat, and most of these are just aesthetic changes anyway. These can be purchased with Fire Souls, which can be gained by completing the game's main quests and the repetitive and crappy side quests, and finding various landmarks scattered throughout the hub world. During combat, you can block and dodge enemy attacks, and lock onto enemies and unlock various guitar solos to perform, and these guitar solos actually have various effects in games when you successfully press the button prompts on screens with correct timing, which kind of reminded me a lot of the Ocarina spell mechanic from Ocarina of Time, which was cool. One solo can summon your car by your side. There are solos that are more helpful with combat, and others aid you in the strategy parts of the games. Although, I don't know if this was the game's fault or the fault of my controller, I think it might be the former, but sometimes when I locked onto an enemy, it pulled up the solo menu out of nowhere, which made me vulnerable to attack. Like, I had no idea why I did that. I thought I was like applying pressure to the right trigger button, which is the solo menu, whilst I was holding down the left trigger button. But like, and then sometimes it would just pull up the solo menu when I pressed the lock-on button. Like, what? I don't know, it was just kind of annoying. It didn't happen all the time, it just happened sometimes. I don't know why. The Battlefield real-time strategy elements of the game are a pretty big letdown for me. They are extremely dull and repetitive, and I just didn't like them whatsoever. During these, Eddie can guide his recruits to do various tasks around the battlefield, such as follow him, attack on command, and defend specific areas. In these sections, you're fighting your rivals' armies and have to topple their structures and destroy their base of operations to win, whilst growing your own army in the process. As the battles go on, you can build your own structures and use more powerful allies and upgrade them too. In order to build your army, you need to acquire fans and basically use fans as currency to buy and upgrade your allies. The more merch towers you build on the battlefields, the faster you gain fans, and the same applies to your rival army too. You know, the typical strategy game shit, and Eddie can also activate his demon form to fly across the battlefield and command his armies from the skies. But he can only activate his flying demon form in these strategy parts though. He can't go into this form and fly across the hub world for whatever reason, even though that would be extremely useful. Too bad that these sections are very boring and sometimes can be flat out frustrating. I mostly just forced my army to take down the enemy's towers and just made them ignore as much enemies as they could, and I just took down most of the army's enemies out myself with the range of solos I had. The only time I feel like I actually had to use my brain and strategize with these was the last battle against Ophelia right before the final boss. I should also mention that this game doesn't actually have a health bar. Yeah, in order to find out how much health you have, you just need to get hit a few times until the screen goes red, then a few more hits and you're gone. Not that dying in this game really matters anyways, because there is no punishment for dying. You just get thrust back into what you were doing previously as if nothing happened. The game in general is pretty mediocre, and to be honest, I was bored out of my mind for most of this game. The combat outside the strategy segments is so basic and clunky, like your enemies don't put up a fight whatsoever, and let's just say that this is only a mere fragment of what a Devil May Cry game can offer in terms of combat. The whole campaign just consists of driving to a specific area, then doing a task like a short battle or an escort mission. Then when the strategy parts get introduced, you just drive to this location, do a strategy segment, drive to another location, do a strategy segment, and so on until you face Diviculus at the end, who, by the way, might as well be the most underwhelming final boss in gaming ever. Like, seriously, this is such a crap final boss. The hub world in Brutal Legend is actually pretty cool, and there's lots of creativity put into it. Like, one thing I'll have to praise this game for is its creativity. It does feel like it was made with passion, but the game is so shoddily made that it just really lets it down. I love the game's aesthetics. All of the hub world is scattered with heavy metal imagery, and they stated that they took a lot of visual inspiration from the artwork featured in classical metal albums, and you can definitely tell. All of the characters are decked out with spiky jewelry, tattoos, biker gear, black leather, you know, the typical punk metal fashion and iconography. There's so many cool environments in this game, like the many statues of giant swords around, the huge dam made out of speakers, mountains of human remains, huge skulls scattered everywhere, and there's plenty of wildlife that you can encounter, and they're pretty awesome, although I don't know why these animals are even here. You don't get anything from killing them, and they're just wandering around aimlessly and occasionally attack you. Like, I've seen some of the concept artwork for this game, and you can tell the artists put a lot of their backs into it, and it looks extremely cool and hardcore. Of course, it does look similar to Psychonauts' artwork, which does make sense, and when I played Doom in the Dark Ages, it did kind of remind me of this game actually, like with its world design, but you know, like a lot more detailed than this game. The main issue that I have with this hub world, however, is that it isn't that much fun to explore, and there's not that much to do apart from do all these shitty side quests that are legit the same 4 objectives copy and pasted across the map. I just didn't bother completing any of them after a while because of how mind-numbingly boring they were, and I just wanted to do the slightly more interesting main quest. Like, me personally, I like games where the side quests feel like they have as much effort put into them as the main quest, where they feel like they really enhance the world and provide substantial benefits too. Borderlands, Batman Arkham Knight, Majora's Mask, and Cyberpunk 2077 are great examples of this. You feel like you miss out a lot of the game if you just skip these side quests. But Brutal Legends side quests are shittier than a porta potty at a metal concert. And they were serving curry at said concert. And even though I praised this game's art direction and visuals earlier, the character models and the animations on them look very stiff, and they look off in places. This game has very stiff character animation, and the female characters both look and move like Barbie dolls, and sometimes some of the characters just freeze for prolonged periods of time after doing some animations. Like, it just looks so bizarre.
Yeah! Nice Thunderhawk, man. You make that badass heel-mobile yourself?
Hey, you about done?
Let me check that out.
Like, just look at how Eddie runs. It legit feels like something out of a low-budget like PS2 era game, not a PS3 era game. The voice acting, especially from Jack Black, is quite lackluster. Jack Black, who is known for being very energetic, loud and exaggerated, he sounds like he wants to kill himself here.
First off, we're gonna kill that tower.
It's time to get out of here.
But where are we gonna run to?
To the Sea of Black Tears.
Ever feel like you were born in the wrong time? Like you should have been born earlier?
when the music was real?
Like the 70s?
Earlier, like the early 70s. What are you talking about? She did fail. My father killed her, right? She's never coming back.
Like, there's no energy in his voice whatsoever. It's just, I know, it just seems like he's in it for a paycheck. Just goes to show that a good actor doesn't make for a voice actor. The soundtrack of Brutal Legend, yeah, I know it's taken me this long to talk about the soundtrack, shut up. It's definitely a strength in my opinion. It's pretty fucking obvious what genres of music feature in this game, and most of it is actually licensed as well. You have a select amount of tracks from classic metal bands and other similar genres, as this game is a big love letter to the metal genre and the culture as a whole, as stated previously. The game features music from Metallica, Motorhead, Judas Priest, Megadeth, Black Sabbath, Slayer, Rob Zombie, Cradle of Filth, Static X, Kiss, The Scorpions, The Motley Crue, and KMFDM, which I personally thought was a bit out of place, but hey, whatever man, and there's many more featured here. In fact, some of the music that you hear in this game is actually diegetic. So even if the hub world is uninteresting and bland to explore, at least you got kick-ass music to headbang to. But one weird thing that I gotta complain about is like, as soon as you get out of the car, it keeps playing the song but it gets quieter as you go away from it, and then louder as you approach. But then when you get back in the car, it plays a completely new song. Like, what? Why? Why does it do that? Like, does this game not have a radio system or anything? But wow, that sure is a lot of songs that they probably had to pay a lot of money to use. My guess is that they blew a lot of the budget on the soundtrack, and as a result the game ended up being so mediocre gameplay wise. But that's just my theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Oh god, that was so cringe. Okay, can I access this site now? I've done the review. Oh, okay, sure. God, they've got me by the balls. Oh, quite literally. So, Brutal Legend is a game that does seem like it had a lot of passion and heart put into it. From the behind the scenes footage that they show in the credits, it does appear that they put a lot of passion and soul into the game. Like, it's definitely a game they wanted to make. It does have its own distinct personality, but gameplay wise and everything else, it's just so disappointing and shit. I don't think they should have included the real-time strategy parts either. They just seem so out of place and are so frustrating and not very well thought out in my opinion, like I stated earlier. I think they should have just made this game a full-on character-action hack-and-slash game with more of a focus on combos and weapon upgrades and better enemy AI and like intricate boss fights. Like the only actual boss fights that are in this game, or things that resemble a boss fight, is this random bouncer dude at the beginning and Diviculus at the end. Implement the guitar more into combat and make the hub world more interactable. They can still keep the car gameplay and everything, but I think they should have focused more on making the car more combat focused as well, and maybe even have a radio system. That would have been cool, like, you know what I'm saying. That would have been sick. I don't care if people would have called this game a DMC or God of War clone. It would have been leagues better than the clunky and boring final product that is Brutal Legend. Honestly, if it weren't for the celebrity cameos and the music, I feel like this game probably would have been forgotten and buried in the graveyard of other forgettable and generic 7th generation games. And I mean this with no offense to the people who made it, but to go from Psychonauts to this is just a massive letdown. I put this game down after I completed its very short story. I mean seriously, this game takes like 5 hours to beat. It's so short. It's not DMC 2 or Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League levels of terrible, but I just hate the awesome concepts let down by clunky combat, stiff animation, unneeded strategy elements, and just a general lack of focus. Like, this game just feels rushed, and I guess I could recommend it if you can find it for cheap and you like metal music and Jack Black, you know, give it a go if you want. That being said, this has been Rycam Productions. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you guys thought as well. So, it's time to see you later, and keep rocking, dudes. Oh, great! Okay, now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some, business to take care of.